What's going on, DGen Nation? Back with another video. About to hop into another BBM4 draft. This will be my 71st draft of the offseason. Waiting for one more person to fill. So while we wait, I like to just give a little breakdown usually of my top 5 exposures. Maybe we'll do top 10 while we're waiting. My number one most exposed player right now at 37% is Hunter Renfrow. Number 2, Tyquan Thornton, 29%. Third, Mike Evans at 23%. Fourth, Michael Mayer, 23%. And number 5 is Zach Charbonnet at 22%. So this draft did fill. Again, I'm stuck with the 9 pick. I have not had luck, just awful luck lately, picking either 9, 10, or 11. Haven't gotten a 1 or 2 in, I want to say, the last 10 drafts. And I almost haven't, I want to say out of 71 drafts now, this probably maybe 5 or 6 picks where I've picked between 4 and 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in that range. So what that does is that limits you to certain players. That's just, there's no way around it unless you want to reach on ADP, and ADP does change over the course of the offseason a little bit here and there, but unless you want to reach for certain guys, which I don't like to do, you're going to get stuck kind of drafting the same players. So I want to get more exposure to Tyreek Hill. I want to get more Cooper Kupp. I want to get more Diggs, more McCaffrey. I'm fine being a little bit low on Kelsey. You know, he's the type of guy that I would wait if he slipped to like the 8, 9, 10. I'm cool taking him there, but I'm fine not getting him also. But those other guys I want to get more exposure to. So let's take a look at the board. Picks flying off already. We got Justin Jefferson at the 1, Chase at the 2, Tyreek Hill at the 3, Cooper Kupp 4, McCaffrey 5, Kelsey 6. So pretty standard start. You see Kelsey, Diggs, AJ Brown, they all kind of switch places in that range, 6, 7, 8. So I'm on the clock. AJ Brown goes, and you get locked out of that elite tier of receivers, it feels like, as well. I think CeeDee Lamb is still in there. Yeah, I'm gonna go CD. Even me, a little bit of bias right there. When I look at those receivers, I'm like, after AJ Brown, like that, there's a teardrop, but not really. You look at the stats. If you look at the first few years of his career, CeeDee Lamb is without a doubt in that group. In a vacuum, I like Devontae Adams better. He put up more points last year. He's put up, he's had some of the best wide receiver seasons of any receiver out there for the last almost decade. So the only concern is the quarterback situation, is Jimmy Garoppolo. When healthy, I think he'd be fine. Not always healthy. So, he goes down, and then what are you stuck with? You stuck with Brian Hoyer? Are they going to trade for somebody? So it's the only concern surrounding Devontae Adams. And he goes there at 15. That would have been awesome for him to come back at the swing there. Team at the turn went Bijan, Nick Chubb, which is an interesting combo. Let's see. I'll go JT. This is right in the range where he's going. I like him better than Saquon. So anywhere in the second round for Jonathan Taylor is cool with me. Just looking ahead of what I might do as far as building up this team. I love that Dallas Detroit week 17 matchup. So if I can snag some Lions, I'm cool with that, and build out the Dallas Detroit stacks. for week 17. I'm definitely cool with that. Also, getting Jonathan Taylor leaves me open to grabbing Pittman and Richardson. Didn't know if Taylor would be there, so they play Vegas week 17, so that actually would be a nice combo to get Devontae Adams, Jonathan Taylor. But Taylor's a weird guy. Whereas I've seen him go in the 20s. I've seen him get matched up with the McCaffrey team, picking in the 4 or 5 slot here. I've seen him slip as far as 21. So he either slips or the team around the turn is liable to take him too. So not a guarantee that he was going to be there for me at 16, despite his ADP. So quick rundown after I went JT at 16, we see Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, Patrick Mahomes to the Travis Kelce team, Devonta Smith, Tony Pollard, Saquon Barkley, T. Higgins, and at the turn, the team at the 1 spot goes Derrick Henry, Ramondre Stevenson, which I've seen a lot. That combo, that 3-man combo there. Josh Allen, 26, Jalen Hurts, 27. Metcalf goes 28. Jacobs, 29. So I'm coming up in a couple picks. Let's see what's left on the board here. I have not been taking much Lamar recently because of the way things have fallen with him and Andrews. They're basically going back to back. So it's fine to get Lamar unstacked, certainly, but I haven't been so far. I was getting him early in the offseason all the time with Andrews before the contract sorted itself out. And right at the beginning of BBM, you were able to get Jackson still in the 4th. So Breece Hall goes. I'm never able to get Breece Hall. So I'm going to go with a little bit of a reach right here because I don't see him coming back to me. Actually, his ADP is right at 40. I was thinking about Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah, I'm gonna grab him here just to share it up. It's not crazy. I don't love Calvin Ridley. I have a lot of Cooper. I don't love Keenan Allen. I'm not crazy about Hopkins. Judy, I'm on the fence about. So I don't love any of the receivers right there in that range. Typically, that would be the range where most people are going receiver. I have a lot of Najee. I'm at about 20, not 20, but I'm in the high teens with Najee Harris. So I'm okay passing him over there, even though I think total points for the season, he might outscore Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to help me build out my correlation with Dallas, Detroit. And in saying that, I don't have much St. Brown, so maybe it would have been a better idea to go with St. Brown over CeeDee Lamb, but I'm cool with it either way. Man. Do I go receiver here or do I grab Najee? Because I think there's a definitive tier break. I'm going to grab Najee Harris because I was thinking about Najee on the first at the 33 pick where I took Gibbs and then he fell past ADP right there to me. I could literally take one more running back to the rest of the draft and be done at running back. This is not my favorite strategy, but to me, there's a significant dip after Najee Harris. I like Dobbins, actually. I was a little skittish on his ADP, but I think he's actually going a little bit lower in ADP than he should. He's a guy I like a lot. ETN has been scaring me. Kenneth Walker, if Charbonnet wasn't there, would probably be a late third or early 4th pick. I think his ADP is still a little bit high. If he dips into the 6th, I think that's amazing value, but okay passing on him right there. And definitely going to have to start hammering receiver for sure. Because I think my plan right now, just the way this team making that bet on Gibbs at 33. I'm looking at Dak and I'm looking at Jared Goff as my quarterbacks. So I can get them late, fairly late anyways. Dak ADP in the 90s. Oh, he dipped down to 101s, but still roughly in that range. So I can get him in a few rounds, can try and target Goff if I can't get Dak. Could always pivot to like a Richardson, something like that with Jonathan Taylor. So leave myself open for a lot of options. And just a quick rundown, I went Gibbs at 33, and then we see Andrews, Ridley, Amari Cooper, Ayuk to the team at the 12 spot. So they went Ayuk well ahead of ADP, which I actually did see in a draft the other day as well. Just an unusual grouping right there. Bijan, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk. Ayuk, someone, I guess maybe he's thinking that would not be there at 60. I mean, that is past his ADP a little bit, but certainly a reach there. After Ayuk goes, Keenan Allen, Lamar Jackson. I go Najee Harris at 40. Hopkins, London, Mike Williams, ETN, Justin Fields, Joe Burrow, DJ Moore. The team at the 1 slot goes Jerry Jeudy, Terry McLaurin, 48, 49. Aaron Jones, Christian Kirk. So receivers flying off the board. So if there is a mistake to be made in this draft, it's me taking Najee there over a receiver. Will Najee outscore those receivers? Yes, but what's my second receiver doing? See, I only have CeeDee Lamb so far. So is my second receiver in this range? Let's take a look. Godwin, Pittman, Hollywood, JSN. And I like the guys in those range, actually, in that range. I like those guys a lot. So definitely possible. You're talking about Keenan Allen's an older guy. Could he break down? Well, Keenan Allen wasn't available when I took Najee, but Hopkins, that's another guy who's older, doesn't have a landing spot yet. Does he land in a situation that's not great for him? Mike Williams gets banged up all the time. So, I mean, there's some receivers in this range that aren't guarantees that I don't really love, but I do like London. I do like McLaurin, Kirk, Pittman. I would have liked to take here with my next pick. Lockett, not loving the ADP anymore, to be honest with you. I had a ton of them last year, but going in the 5th now, I think I don't see him delivering on ADP in the 5th with the addition of JSN. So, all right, I'm on the clock. That's what's I'm now kicking myself now because Dobbins would have been a great pick here. I'll go Godwin. J.K. Dobbins at 57 and grabbing a receiver instead of Najee. Like if I had a Drake London or DJ Moore, McLaurin, Jeudy, that looks like a better squad on paper. So far, we get Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Najee Harris at running back, wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Godwin. So after I went Godwin, JSN, J.K. Dobbins, team at the turn goes Herbert and Lawrence. This team is extremely interesting. I thought they were going to go with Deshaun Watson after they started out with Chubb and Amari Cooper. But I mean, they might still the way their draft's going. I wouldn't rule out anything. But they grabbed 2 quarterbacks there at the turn. I'm on deck. Really hard for me not to click Mike Evans. I just So Deontay Johnson goes. Do I pivot a little bit here away from Mike Evans, who I have a ton of? Do I grab a Kittle after ADP? I think I will. I think I'll grab Kittle here. Normally, I would take Mike Evans. I already have Godwin. I could have built in a Bucks stack, but I will go Kittle there. I don't love my teams when I don't get an elite tight end. I don't like the way they turn out. George Kittle was phenomenal for me last year. It's so many of those just legendary spike weeks. So I think the team will have better balance with Kittle as opposed to Evans. I'm looking to grab in some of the later rounds. I'm looking to grab Brandon Cooks. I'm looking to grab Jamison Williams, Gallup, a lot of those Dallas, Detroit pieces. So I think Evans would have been a good pick, but him versus Kittle, it's very close to me positionally. Most likely Mike Evans is going to outscore Kittle on the season. That's just the way things go. But if Purdy is able to win that job, Kittle's might be a monster from day one. So he just absolutely went off when Purdy got in there. And if Purdy's healthy enough to be the day one starter, I love Kittle at this ADP. So after I went George Kittle at 64, we see Alexander Madison at 65, Mike Evans, Cam Akers, Kyle Pitts, Miles Sanders, Damian Pierce, Kadarius Toney, Traylon Burks, Jordan Addison at the turn. The team out of the one slot. On the way back, we see Gabe Davis, 74, Dallas Goedert, 75, and I am 5 picks away. Let's see what makes sense. I could grab Montgomery and be officially done at running back. He would tie in with my Dallas Detroit bet. I'm gonna go Cooks first, just because his ADP is ahead of Montgomery's. I think he's just unless he gets sniped right here, he's just desperate for a good quarterback. I think he's even though he's a bit of an older guy, I think he is due for a bounce back. So I'll grab him right here at 81. Go back to my team for a second. Yeah, so I mean his ADP is 83. Get him at 81, right around ADP. That makes sense. And I got some options here on the wrap back around. I could grab Dak just to sure up that Dallas bet. See, Montgomery goes 83. That's fine. He was an option too if he swung back around, but I'm not going to go out of my way. I needed the receiver there more than I needed the fourth running back, without a doubt. So totally cool with that. I have plenty of Montgomery, and I have teams with Gibbs and Montgomery just in case it plays out the way it did last year with Swift and Jamal Williams, where Montgomery, is between the tackles runner and he vultures a lot of that goal line work. Certainly could see it playing out something similar to that. So Bateman goes right before me. I'm on the clock. Got some decisions to make here. Richardson's in play. Like Elijah Moore right here. Like if I don't get Jamison Williams, I'm not going to get him. So I'm going to go Jamison Williams. And if I don't get Dak, no big deal. I'll grab Goff later. Still some quarterbacks on the board here. And as soon as I say that, this will probably be the area where the QB start to run off. You'll see Tua go to the team that drafted Hill or Waddle coming up. Maybe Richardson goes, but if that happens, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. I know for sure Goff will be available at my next pick coming around, so I don't think Jameson Williams would have at 105. And a lot of people are down on him. A lot of people are down on him big time, and they're saying he's simply just a deep threat. He's going to miss 6 games, and that kind of production can be found somewhere else. Jared Goff, not the best deep ball thrower, but you saw in that short little sample size, like that one touchdown he caught, the 41-yarder, which was the only pass he caught last year. But that's all it takes. If you're wide open, any NFL quarterback is going to hit you. If you're outrunning the defense by a couple yards, if they're completely zoned in on the running game, and St. Brown, I think he has tremendous opportunity to really spike in the second half when he gets back. I think they're going to be desperate for him to come back with the way the rest of the receiving core is. You got Marvin Jones, who's I think he's 35 years old. Josh Reynolds. So there's not much behind St. Brown in terms of receiving. They're already using Gibbs, I guess, a lot out of the slot, and so they need that number 2 there, that legit number 2. And I think Williams' talent is being underrated. Certainly, he has not had a good start in a variety of ways. Injury, was slow to come back last year, and there weren't any negative reports about that. I knew they were going to hold him out, but I think he was out longer than they anticipated. Then he comes in with this year with the gambling suspension, so not a good start for him. I think he's going to be chomping at the bit for a little bit of redemption. So let's go back to the board. After I went Jameson Williams 88. See Elijah Moore, James Conner, Pacheco, Tua, Zay Flowers, Rashad White, James Cook, Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, Sky Moore, 98. That's pretty high for him. What's his ADP? What is Sky Moore's ADP? 117. So he took him almost 20 picks ahead of ADP there. I'm trying to build in that KC Cincy. He's got Chase and Higgins, and Tony. After Sky Moore, AJ Dillon, Samaje P. Ryan. And I was thinking Dak was going to make it to me. That would have been ideal right there. Would have looked smart having him rack around at 105, but that's okay. He goes 102, then Zach Charbonnet. I'm on deck. And then Anthony Richardson goes. That was going to be my pick right there. This is a gross range for receiver. Not going to get another tight end here. That's terrible. That's as bad as it gets. I'll go Kamara. I just think, you're talking about upside. Second half upside, the same way I was just mentioning with Jameson Williams. It's almost a certainty that Kamara gets suspended, but it's almost a certainty that it's not going to be a full season. I can't remember the last time we saw a full season suspension for an incident like that, even though there's video of it. I think the last time was Ray Rice, and that Ray Rice incident was, a male on female, and someone beating his wife. It was a very graphic video. I haven't seen the Kamara video. I heard it was floating around. And certainly it does not look good, but I can't see a full season suspension coming from that, which is crazy because they'll suspend somebody for a full season for gambling. Not even on the NFL, but they won't do it for violence, assaulting somebody. So that's a little crazy, but I'm going to just take an ADP reach here. Not my favorite thing to do, but I already made this big time bet on Dallas, Detroit. And if I don't get one of the quarterbacks from that game, then it's kind of all for naught. I would prefer Dak. Would have loved to have both of them, but I'm gonna grab Goff there. Was considering Gallup. Was ahead of ADP, so it didn't feel great about it there. Hopefully he's there on the way back around, but I like the way this team is shaping up. Just go back to my team for a minute here. So just a quick breakdown positionally. I get Jared Goff at quarterback. Don't love taking him 16 picks ahead of ADP, especially a guy like him with no rushing upside. Would have been beautiful if I could have got Richardson there instead of Kamara. So I had that rushing upside baked in with him, and then I have a safe kind of floor guy with Goff. But that didn't happen. Running back, beautiful running back core. Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Najee Harris, Alvin Kamara. And at receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Godwin, Brandon Cooks, Jamison Williams, tight end, George Kittle. So didn't get the elite tier quarterback that we would have liked. Receiving core is a little thin. See if we can balance that out a bit and get some upside guys later. Fine taking a tight end too at the end of the draft. Cool going with a Laporta, especially with Kittle. You do have to worry a bit about Kittle's injury history though, and then if he does get hurt for any stretch, you're stuck with Laporta as your tight end one. So as much as Kittle gives you the spike weeks, I think he is a guy that's makes sense to go 3 tight ends. He's tough as nails, and that's that's his problem, is that he plays so tough that he just gets himself hurt. His body gets banged up, taking on linebackers, fighting for extra yards. He's that kind of guy. So it wouldn't be crazy for him to stay healthy for 17 games, but I don't think it's likely. I think he's just that type of guy that's always going to miss a game or two. So probably going to take 3 tight ends. So Gallup goes. He gets sniped for me as well. Let's look at the board. I'm on deck. I'll give a breakdown after I make this next pick here. Most likely going to have to be a receiver. Glad I went Goff there, though, as much as that was an ADP reach. Geno Smith came off the board, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers. So there was a run on quarterbacks. I honestly think out of this group right here, it's an ugly group, but Jacoby Myers is by far the best floor guy for our receiving core that could probably use a little bit of floor early in the season with Jamison Williams being out. And who knows how Godwin fares with the new quarterback like Baker, who's like inaccurate. He thrived with Brady, just throwing him those slants, those underneath, pick up those 5 to 10 tough yards underneath. And he was a guy who could approach 10 catches any given game, but maybe that changes now with a different quarterback in there. Couple guys I like here on the wrap back around too. Trying to think what else I could potentially build in with the Lions and the Cowboys. Make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. Jake Ferguson too. Yep, he's definitely a guy I can consider later on if I'm going 3 tight ends. Grab Laporta, grab Ferguson. And I throw the guys in the queue. They're out of order in ADP, but I'm usually almost never letting the queue do the drafting for me if I can help it. Not sure about Rashee Rice. I think Alec Pierce, I think Van Jefferson certainly due for a bounce back 2 years ago. 800 yards, 6 touchdowns, 143 points. I think he's definitely in the mix for a big bounce back candidate. Thielen's very steady, even if you factor in his age. I still think he could be a number one in that offense, but a number one in that offense, like what does it really mean? I think it'll be more of a spread type of offense where everyone gets some touches. And the thing that made Thielen great was the touchdowns. You look at 2 years ago, 67 grabs, 726 yards with 10 touchdowns. That gave him the vast majority of his fantasy value, 166 points. Last year, he had almost the exact same season with a similar amount of targets, actually more targets, had less yards, a few less, but 6 touchdowns. The fantasy points dipped by about 20. So you're talking this year, say he has 600 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's barely going to be a wide receiver 4. So I'd rather go with the potential upside of the young guy in Pierce. Let me go back to the board. Break down these last couple rounds as a round. The picks are really flying in this draft. So I went Jacoby Myers 129, Nico Collins 130, Russell Wilson, Romeo Doubs, Tyler Algier to the team at the 12 spot. Rashad Penny, Chigu Conwo. I went Alec Pierce 136. Then we see Derek Carr, Tank Bigsby, Kendre Miller, Jaden Reed, Dalton Schultz, Dalton Kincaid, Greg Dulcich, KJ Osborne to the team at the turn, picking out of the 1 spot. So they continue to build out their Minnesota stack. Osborne, Cousins, Addison, and Jefferson. So they're making a big time bet on Minnesota. They don't have any Packers though. So maybe not focusing so much on week 17 as just getting their Vikings in. And they go Cole Kmet, 145. So what's the plan here coming back around? I'm done at running back. I don't need any more running backs, which I feel great about. I feel great about those 4 running back teams where I don't even have to look at running back again. If anything, I would maybe go with a handcuff last round for JT with Evan Hull. That's really the only scenario where I could see myself maybe taking another one, depending on how the draft falls. If I don't end up taking the 3rd tight end, I'm cool doing that. I need another quarterback. So trying to think what would make the most sense. Honestly, just the way Kyler Murray's been falling. I saw somebody grab him in the 18th the other day, and it was like, I don't even care if everyone thinks he's going to miss the season. I don't see that scenario playing out. Even if he did, I would still, even if it was a 50-50 chance, I'm still taking him in the 18th round every time if he's fallen to that range, even the 17th. So see if I can wait it out a bit and grab him later as my second quarterback, even if it's unstacked. I'm cool with that. Talking about a guy who has top 5, top 6 potential as a quarterback, just as a rusher. He's dangerous, and maybe a new lease on life with a new coaching staff. We'll see, but grab Laporta there, a little ahead of ADP, but that's cool. I like him a lot. Some people don't, they shy away from the rookie tight ends. I don't. I think we're going to see a new era in the NFL where the rookie tight end comes in, plays that more of a receiver role than a blocker, and it's going to start trending to the point where rookie tight ends are you feel fine taking them in the, as a fantasy producer. Doesn't happen often, has happened a few times. Like Fryermuth had a good rookie year. Evan Ingram. There's been a few rookie tight end, Kyle Pitts, 1,000 yards. So I think that's a trend that's going to take an uptick as opposed to going in the other direction. So just as I give my whole spiel about Kyler Murray falling, he goes right at his ADP, 158. I hopefully can grab Ferguson as my third tight end later. Don't love any of these quarterbacks here. I'll go Thielen. I was read off my exposures at the beginning. I have so much Taekwon. I have almost 30% Taekwon. So that's just an opportunity there to mix it up a little bit, get it a little bit different. 20 picks after ADP. Thielen's a gross click, but 20 picks after ADP, the risk is baked in there. Talking about DJ Chark and Mingo. Mingo, anybody's guess. Did get the draft capital, but anybody's guess how he's utilized and how good he really is. There's mixed reports on that. Chark is a guy who's been hurt a lot. So you're talking about Thielen as a potential number one for a rookie, and he could maybe lean on him, especially early in the season. So not pounding the table for people to go out and draft Thielen, but it's not the worst pick in the world. 20 picks after ADP in the 14th round. I don't know if I'm going to look back at that one and say, I regret it or that was a horrible pick. But maybe I will. Maybe there's some rookies there and you look back and say, oh my God, that guy was sitting there. What was I thinking? So that certainly happens every year. Take some old dusty bum and there was a stud rookie sitting on the board. So we'll see. We'll revisit that one down the road. So I went Laporta 153, Roshan Johnson, Gerald Everett, Jerome Ford, Jawan Johnson to the team at the 12 spot at the turn. Kyler Murray 158, Rashee Rice 159. I went Adam Thielen 160, Rashid Shaheed, Matthew Stafford, Jordan Love, MVS, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Tyquan Thornton. So I need, let's break down the roster real quick. Right now I'm at a 1-4-7-2. Good at running back. Feeling better about my receivers. I think I have a good mix of veteran guys, floor guys with Myers and Thielen. I think they're floor guys still at this point. And I have some upside second-year breakout potential with Jamison Williams, Alec Pierce, and then the three at the top from just ADP. I'm hoping they're the catalyst. Lamb, Godwin, Cooks. So going to grab at least one more receiver, but I need a second quarterback and a third tight end, most likely. So what options do I have at quarterback? Bryce Young is an option with Thielen. And if I don't get Ferguson, I could grab Hayden Hurst to build out a little mini Carolina stack. Not my favorite. Not anything anyone gets out of bed in the morning for, but possibility. Maybe Chuba Hubbard as my fifth running back, which I don't want to do. Bryce Young's at the top of the board. So I don't see any real other options besides Jimmy G with Jacoby Myers. I guess I could go. No, no, I'm gonna grab Bryce. I'll grab Bryce Young. I think the size thing's being overblown. I think he's a legit stud. Maybe it doesn't click right away, but he might be someone who gets hot in the second half of the year. And that's what you're hoping for. You want to get some guys who can be steady early on in the season, and then you want to get the young guys who can really figure it out. Maybe after their bye week, they get a late bye, week 10. All of a sudden, they come back after the bye week, and it's like boom, they flip the switch. And you think about Justin Fields as like it couldn't have been a worse offense than the Chicago Bears for that stretch. It was painful. And then all of a sudden, one week, the switch just flipped, and it was like, holy shit, this dude is going bananas. So it can happen in the blink of an eye. I'll go Renfro here. That actually opens me up if I want to take Jimmy as my third quarterback. I could either go with, so I get two more picks. I could go with Jimmy G as the third quarterback and grab a third tight end, be done at receiver. And have an option here with these two. Let's put Jimmy in the queue. I don't think Jimmy really moves the needle, much, but he's getting thrown into an offense with weapons. You're talking about he's got a top 5 running back. Maybe not in the real NFL. I guess you could make an argument for that, but on paper, like Jacobs caught 50 balls the last 2 years. For fantasy, he's an asset. Devontae Adams, arguably the best receiver in the league. Renfro 2 years ago was a monster out of the slot. Got hurt last year, but I think he's still a very talented guy. I think he's underrated. You bring in Myers, who knows the Josh McDaniel system. So there's weapons there. You draft Michael Mayer, who should have went in the first round. It was a travesty that he went in the second. He's a better player than Laporta, in my opinion. And he's still there, actually. So actually, that late Vegas stack is always an option. If you could get Devonta early, you can get Devonta Jacobs. That stack is always going to be there for you late. And I don't know. Hayden Hurst just doesn't do it for me either. I was going to take him there just for the Bryce Young correlation, but I'd prefer Mayer. I'd prefer Ferguson. So let's see. Ferguson's a little bit of a scary proposition just because there's kind of a few different guys there who could take that role. It seems like with the guys that are there, he has the best opportunity to be the pass catcher to fill the Dalton Schultz role. And he fared pretty well last year in the limited opportunities. So I don't know if I have any shares of him. Maybe one. So, and I do have a bunch of Mayer. In this scenario, I might just try and grab. No, I don't want to go four. I was gonna possibly consider 4 tight ends and just stay at the 2 quarterbacks, but I think Jimmy, if he could have a couple spike weeks, would probably be worth it. instead of the fourth tight end. Since I don't have Dak, I will go Michael Mayer. Hopefully someone doesn't just snipe me on Jimmy G. Like that would be gross, but if I had Dak here, I'd probably definitely go Ferguson. I think I have besides Pollard, I have the two pieces on Dallas that you really want for week 17. So, and then as soon as I say that, if Ferguson's going to catch, oh my God. Do you even believe it? I go Michael Mayer 201. Jimmy Garoppolo goes 202. Oh my God. That is just brutal. Brutal. So you know what? Maybe I do go. Maybe I do go with the fourth tight end. Can maybe go Josh Downs here. I already have JT and I have Pierce to build out a further Vegas Indy stack. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that instead of going Ferguson. Grab Ferguson another time. I don't have many four tight end builds. I think I maybe have one, so feel a little bit better about the rookie. Maybe he gets hot. Actually a couple different stacks there, week 17 I built in. You got Detroit and Dallas. Got a couple nice pieces of the Dallas offense to go with Goff, Laporta. I'll just do a quick breakdown overall of the team. Jared Goff, Bryce Young, a quarterback, which doesn't sound great. It's kind of scary. Pretty thin there. Would have felt a little bit better about having Jimmy G, but is he really a needle mover there? No. I think the guys in his offense could go off without him really having to go off. So, Jared Goff, Bryce Young, a quarterback, running back, Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Najee Harris, Alvin Kamara, wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Godwin, Brandon Cooks, Jamison Williams, Jacoby Myers, Alec Pierce, Adam Thielen, Hunter Renfrow, Josh Downs, at tight end, George Kittle, Sam Laporta, Michael Mayer. I like this team a lot. Aside from quarterback, I need Bryce Young to be a guy. Not at the beginning of the year, but at some point, I need him to be a guy. The move was probably to just do the quick breakdown there. I mean, at 201, I went Michael Mayer. 202, Jimmy Garoppolo. So the move probably would have been to take Jimmy. And at least I would have had the quarterback, and I could have taken, hopefully, if either one of them made it to me, Mayer or Ferguson. So what are you going to do? I didn't think. Does he have Jacobs? No, but he's got Devontae. Makes sense. That's fair. At least he didn't take him completely unstacked. Jimmy G, 202, Jeff Wilson, Terrence Marshall, Musgrave at the turn, Tim Patrick, Trey Lance, Josh Downs to me at 208. Robert Woods, Zach Ertz, Jake Ferguson does go. 211, Gus Edwards, McCole Hardman, Marvin Jones, Isaiah Likely. So, solid draft. I did a 2-4-9-2. And I always like the way my four running back teams turn out. If I can get four studs, I had the anchor receiver with Lamb. So would I prefer to go receiver early? Yes. But in this type of build where grabbing JT in the second, I kind of had a plan going in Detroit, Dallas. I was able to accomplish that for the most part. Would have liked to get Dak, obviously. That was a tough snipe right before my pick, but overall built in two different game stacks for week 17. Got an elite tight end, an elite number one receiver, an elite running back, and kind of waited on quarterback, which that could burn me. If something's going to burn me on this team, it's Goff and Bryce Young struggle, and then you're going up against teams who have Mahomes and Hurts and Josh Allen. So that's the one weak point, but different builds every time you go in, you try and mix it up. So I like this team. If you guys enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe, leave me a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you think I did well. If you get any feedback, what can I do better? Everything's appreciated. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon. DJ Nation, out.